Hello and welcome to another super world famous Spiel Nights audio broadcast streaming. I forgot what it's actually called. Yeah, a live stream on the internet. I am your host, Dungeon Boy Burnham. Today I've got with me two special guests, super special. We've got Morta, who you might recall from 3 episodes back, and our homeboy Draken, who has been with us off and on since the beginning. And today we're going to do 2 things. We're going to have a Kickstarter update. If you watched our last episode, which was highly esteemed, it had 2 whole viewers. So if you're one of them, you already know about this stupid Kickstarter idea that gets us curry. Kickstarter. And the second thing, we're going to talk about how does a human organize a campaign for Dungeons and Dragons or Fight Planet RPG or Pathfinder or any other dumb thing that you're playing with your friends. So with that, we've got Morta, we've got Draken. Hit it, boys.
Thanks for having me back for some reason.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know if I can be heard at all, but I'm here.
That is probably a good thing to figure out.
Okay.
I checked. We're alive.
Oh, okay. You checked you unmuted it. Okay.
Yep. We're good.
You can hear.
When I am talking, I can actually see my little icon go up. So, great.
Oh, I love that I have that. Hopefully, you won't get nailed on copyright picture of a paladin as my icon.
I don't know. It's like what, 16 by 16 pixels of look on this tiny little page.
I think I'll say there's a free use there. You should be great.
Yeah, we're good.
All right. I think the way to okay. So we settled on Fight Planet. So I think what we should do is Dungeon Boy Burnham, why don't you briefly describe what the zine Kickstarter is, and then I will provide the update on Fight Planet.
Okay, great. Okay, so Morta, I assume you didn't watch the last live stream, but if you did, you would know we're doing a Kickstarter, and the Kickstarter is part of Kickstarter's running an actual program called Zine Month or Game Zine or some dumb thing. And
no, it's actually very interesting, right? It's a modern hark back to those tiny little zines when role playing was a very new thing.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
So, go on.
So tell me about Fight Planet.
Yeah, tell me more about how interesting. Okay, so Fight Planet is a game where you are a human that is dropped off on the world of Fight Planet, and you have to fight anybody and everything, and all stats are calculated from D12s, and all rolls are D12s, and you can read more about why everything is D12s later. No other dice are allowed.
I'm certain I can guess why things are D12s, as it is the least loved dice.
That is part of it.
Yes.
You want to tell them why, Draken?
Yeah. Well, because if you roll 2 of them, it's like rolling balls. Okay. So the idea.
Okay, I'm sold. I'm good.
Yes, the idea is
take my money.
Okay. That's the hope. That's the hope, because there was basically an emphasis. There's a discussion of what was going to be a zine, what are people going to be interested in, what's something that can be done within a realistic time frame, and lots of ideas were bandied about. But we settled on fulfilling Nick and Todd's childhood dream of Fight Planet, which I learned during the Kickstarter live stream was something that they had both discussed as wee children about a world they should have where it's Fight Planet and everybody's fighting. So let's create an entire game universe in that amount of time. All right. So as I do not have my part was the content part.
So wait, can I take a pause for just a second?
Yep.
Yeah.
So there's this brilliant idea between Dungeon Boy Burnham and whatever Nick's nickname is.
Dr.
Yes.
Butt.
And Why not? And they got this idea of this planet you get dropped off on, and everyone's fighting. And then they're like, "Let's make a Kickstarter." And by the way, Draken, write everything for us.
Right. Well, okay. I'll rephrase that.
You've got it pretty much.
Okay. I'll have to rephrase the word content. Essentially, core mechanical rules was my job, and then they would provide the life and environment of Fight Planet. So I don't, but I was given basically the ground rules to work with, and what I did settle on, it's mostly D12s, but we're gonna have some D6s in there too, which I know is shocking, but hear me out, because the idea is. The core idea of Fight Planet is you basically take 4 dice, you roll your stats, and then you have a character. And all of the chaos that entails. So, there's basically, this isn't a settled number, but I am thinking that there's going to be 4 stats. The stats that were suggested were guts, nuts, butts, and guns. So,
go on.
Because you fight with all of those, and things happen. So, guts, nuts, butts, and guns. Not the final numbers, but the idea is that they will have both the combat use and the role-playing use, right? So if you're, for example, if you're high in butts might be the defensive mechanic in the combat, and then butts is also, you have a great butt, you can get things done. It could be also a charisma mechanic. So, those sorts of things. So essentially, take these 4 stats, have them both have the combat mechanic to it and the role-playing mechanic to it. And with these particular scores, you actually would not, I will explain, you would not actually roll a D12 to determine those scores. You would roll some D6s. That's to cut down on the variability just a little bit, and also to keep the number smaller. So you roll 4d6, and then, maybe in order or whatever, boom, those are your scores. That's your character. And then the next part is, how does stuff get, because the idea is, how does stuff get done in Fight Planet? So if it is a basic task, if it's a basic task, it has a difficulty of 10. And then that is where your D12 comes in. You roll a D12, you add the appropriate score. If it equals or beats 10, then, ta-da, you will accomplish that particular task. So if you have a crummy score, you'll get it about a quarter of the time. If you have a very good score, you'll get it the majority of the time. Now that's, of course, just for 10s. But I don't know all the details about Fight Planet, but I suspect on Fight Planet there are very large robots and impossible monsters and incredibly large doors to break down. So these will have impossibility levels of 20, 30, 40, 50. So when you have something that high, what do? Well, you're going to team up. So what this means is that when you have combat, it's not just you go and roll an action and resolve it. No. What it is you have to get, maybe one person will do maybe one thing to manipulate the environment, but then the other 3 players have to team up and do some sort of crazy fight combat combination together to justify each of their scores and each of their rolls to beat that 20, that 30, that 40. And that way, the combat is in a sense where you all sort of do things together. And then that can be vice versa, right? Then the enemies can combine together and do bad things to you.
Cool.
So, go ahead.
I want to say I like it. I also like the D12 variability there, because it'll be like real fighting when you're going to do some sick move and then you fall over. You know, this seems impossible, but bam, you hit it just right. I like that. Second, if you want to maintain the D12s, why not do something like roll 4D12 and take, or roll 5D12 and take the median?
Yeah, I think what, so I basically, the D6s are sort of starting stats, and then maybe special little things for items or something. But the main role is the D12. And then then the idea is, how many D12s do you get to roll? And if you roll multiple of them, would you add them together? Do you take the best one? I haven't quite figured out that one yet. What I was sort of thinking is, when you have, you'll have numbers for each of these things, and then what you can do is you can add all of those numbers together. And if that number, if you roll a crappy character, basically, then, if your scores totaled are below a certain threshold, maybe you can roll 2d12s and take the best one, which is that sort of advantage mechanic.
Sure.
Yeah. So that is an idea that I had. And then, then that would, or gosh, maybe you got balls, right? Maybe the the dungeon master says you got balls, so then you get to roll an extra d12 and take the best one, or something to that effect. Yeah. So that is, the idea behind that, right? So and then that can be in the other way too, in the role playing aspect, right? If one of your goals is you have to charm the princess to get out of the room so you can do whatever it is you need to do in the room, then you'd have to take those 4 stats with your, and somehow do something to then get your roll to make that thing happen. One mechanic. So one thing that is interesting is you could have your impossibility score like a 30 or 40 or something, and one thing that I've been debating about is, what you could do is you could just see if everybody rolls together, and if you get it, you do the thing, or if you don't, you fail. That could be one way to do it.
Sure.
Another way to do it is you could build toward that number, right? So if something's like a 60 and you only end up rolling a 45, would you on the next round just have to get to 15? I'm not sure if that would be too complicated or not. No.
The lifespan of any character should be approximately 1d12 minutes.
That's what I was going to say. If we want variability, let's go for variability.
Understood. That's right. That was a discussion. Your character is not long on this earth.
That's why you want to be able to roll them and get them out quickly. I like that idea. And you know what? In fact, for something like this, screw the D6s. Let's just do D12. If your character is going to last 12 minutes, get them out. Whip that bad boy out. Get out there, fight, die, whip out another one. Maybe spend a couple hours beforehand putting up a list of backstories for all your characters that are wanting get up off Fight Planet. And who knows? Maybe one of them will go and become a legend, and we'll get a tank or something. But most of them are going to die like right off the mat in the beginning of the fight, and be another one just right around the corner. I like that. It's like the roguelike of role playing. Oh my goodness! Put that on. Roguelike RPG role-playing Zine. Just put that in Kickstarter, slap some huge goal on it and watch the money come in.
Nice.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, that said, oh, go ahead.
You've actually inspired me for a really interesting mechanic. So you could, right? You could get experience. We obviously wouldn't call it experience. We'd call it awesome points or something, right? You would get, or AP, right? So you get these awesome points, AP. You get awesome points for obviously winning the battle or winning the encounter, but you could also get awesome points for like dying, right?
Yeah.
And so, right, here's the thing, right? You die or whatever, and if you've accumulated enough awesome points, maybe let's say for every 10 awesome points you have, when you roll up your new character, right, which will be totally random ass scores, but if you have like 10 awesome points, you can take one of those scores and tweak it up by 1. And then that way, you have a small measure of advancement and control if you've been playing that particular character or been playing the campaign for some time.
Yeah, I like that. We should call them Rad Dads, RDs.
Rad Dads?
Rad Dads?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It doesn't. What does balls, nuts, and butts mean?
Still working on that.
I'll let you know.
Okay, I think I figured out where I'm gonna fit in on project. Seems
All
like
right.
you guys need a project manager.
Okay, well, hang on. We have a roly goalie. Whatever the hell that means.
Yeah, that is but Dr. Butts' role is rolling. Project manager, we definitely need a project.
I mean, it's definitely a different title than a roly goalie. But
I could be a producer as well, but that'd require me to put money in. And I guess the whole point of Kickstarter is you don't need a producer.
All right, I'll put you down as PM and QA.
So
cool. I can do QA.
Todd, so that's, Dungeon Boy Burnham.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm a little more inspired now that I've talked this out a little bit. I would like to hear. I'd like to hear a little bit more about the world and environment of Fight Planet. Like, what's it like? Do you go to multiple planets? What do you fight? Why do you fight them?
Okay. So you fight them because you are some sort of criminal, and you are sentenced to go to Fight Planet for whatever reason. So everybody that's there is like not a good dude. And I didn't really think about having robots and monsters on there. But I mean, yeah, totally put that in because fuck yeah, giant robots. I mean, I don't like, you can't really put that many monsters in an 8-page zine, but knock yourself out and go to town. What was the other thing? Oh,
we're putting this all in 8 pages.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, now you need a project manager.
Actually, how many pages did?
I think it was 8, right?
I think it's 8 sheets of paper, which yields whatever 8 times 4 is, plus the 32. Cover. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 32 half-size pages. And then like,
sure.
Are we like setting up a Gutenberg press from scratch to print these out? What's the reason for this?
I thought the last discussion it was not 32 pages. I thought it was more like 8.
I don't know. I sent some kind of a text message, and people said, "Hey, that sounds pretty good to me."
Okay, you guys really need a product manager. All right, step it in now. What is the purpose of only having 8 or 32? What's the printing issue here?
Okay.
How could I unblock you?
Okay. So here's the scoop. So a zine has to be to be a zine, quote unquote, especially to meet the Kickstarter's they're having an event for RPG zines in the month of February. So that's where the must launch in February comes from. And to qualify as a zine, it needs to be a half-page sheet of paper with like the staple binding, the saddle stitch, or something stupid like that. No like professional book bindings.
Saddle stitch is pretty good.
Yeah, I saddle stitch makes me happy because it sounds cool to say and it looks fine. Anyway, and 8 pages because why the hell not? Once you start adding additional pages, it's like cheap per page after you do the upfront cost and all that. And plus, Draken's writing all the content, so...
On my end, 8 pages seems short, but if 8 pages seems to be the right amount by the subject matter experts, I'm fine with that.
I mean, I'm worried that we're going to be able to fill up 8 pages, to be honest.
Oh, I think you can fill up 8 pages pretty easy. The question then becomes, 8 pages, are you doing this binding yourself, or are you actually going to, like, you know, contract that out, I guess is the nice way to say what I was about to say. Find some site on the internet of your old repute.
The second one. I was all
Good.
for doing the first one, and then Dr. Butts and Draken told me that that I was being stupid, and it's like, okay, it's one thing to make Fight Planet, the RPG, the Fight Planet, the roguelike RPG, and it's another thing to try to staple them all together yourself like it's the 70s.
So we just have to get the Kickstarter up in February, right? Do we have to deliver?
I mean, if the Kickstarter is successful, we have to deliver.
Right, by when?
Whatever time we say in the Kickstarter.
Okay, so take your time and double it, just in case. You guys are paying me to be your PM. I'm going to do a good job here. I'm going to get you a good ROI.
Let's discuss payment.
I'm already following it.
Let's discuss payment.
Oh, I think this is where the curry is discussed.
What type of curry do you like?
I was going to go for a percentage of the proceeds, but okay, I guess curry will have to deal. Whoever else said Mazamon curry knows what's up.
Yeah,
Give me
okay.
some Mazamon curry.
All right, that was me. You got it. And how much does it cost at the place that you like it?
Probably about, well, I should look this up, but knowing what it is, $18.
Okay. $18. Okay, cool. Cool, so we got you down. You are officially in it.
All right. I am now part of your Kickstarter. Let's make this happen.
Okay.
Yeah, that looks good. And I think we have everything there. So what do we need for the actual Kickstarter? I mean, we want some idea of the mechanics because we want to sell people on it, but we should really spend some good amount of time on like the marketing aspect. Like let's get some acquisition of clientele here. So
Yeah.
when's the art going to be ready? We need a good flashy piece of art of some like sweaty 1990s muscle dude off the cover who's got like bolts in his head being punched in the face by this other big burly like Russian
Yes.
like Soviet looking like uniform dude.
Okay.
What I was informed is that Dungeon Boy Burnham, you acquired an artist, correct?
I have spoken with an artist who is willing to work for curry.
Hells yes.
Spicy curry with chickpeas.
All
I
right.
foresee this ending well. I'm sure the art will be fantastic.
Yeah, but definitely, yeah. I think it absolutely gotta have a Fight Planet, whatever epitomizes Fight Planet.
And okay, so
Explosions in the background, like flying things with lights, and Fight Planet in big, bold, like comic book letters right on the front.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
I like the punching aspect. That's a good one.
Okay, so like two burly dudes punching each other out
Yep.
on like a scrap heap or on a barge?
No,
or...
like a desolate Mars-like planet environment.
Yeah, well, desolate planet with like the crazy like death fog and like flying things shooting bullets and explosions around. Like it should look like pandemonium on there, but you really should be focused on the dudes just clocking the teeth out of each other.
Oh, definitely a flying.
It should focus
really
on the dudes. Okay, it's knocking the teeth out of each other.
Yep.
Right.
Like whatever. This is exactly what I'm going to send to the artist.
Okay.
Okay, it should focus on the dudes knocking each other's teeth out. Okay.
And then there should be explosions in the background and like straight up pandemonium. Like, you know, make it gory. Let's make it not too gory because we don't want Kickstarter to like start censoring us.
Correct.
Well, there's
PG-13 gory.
It's gonna be printed in one color.
Well, obviously it's red.
Red.
Like you want to use like black on red paper.
Yeah.
That would be good too. Yes, that would be perfect.
Black drawings on red paper, and that not deep red, right? Kind of sort of like a light,
Like salmon.
rocky. Yeah, like the red you would sort of see on rocks.
Like rust, like iron.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
a
I guess. Yeah, that works. I was totally thinking blood, but that's fine. I mean, we could go Fist of the North Star pink or something, but
because a rusty red. Yeah, I think a rusty red works because it's a little more it's a little more readable against black text than I think straight up red or blood red would be.
Okay.
But once we have some good art and a really sort of kick-ass logo and byline, and then bring in the D12s and bring in like a D12 minutes for your character to survive, and maybe add a little bit of that, like, this is a roguelike RPG sign.
When you say roguelike, what do you mean by that?
A roguelike is
permadeath and quick?
Yeah.
Oh, so it has a common meaning in the world.
Yeah, it's a thing.
People know what that means when you hear that. Okay.
Okay, hold on. We gotta stop the stream for a second, or at least what we're talking about, and correct this for Draken.
Yeah, like we are now going to go play Realm of the Mad God for the next 2 hours.
So, have you been under a rock for the last 5 years on like video games?
Yeah.
Metaphorically, yes.
Okay, so roguelike is a genre that sort of exploded, and there's roguelikes and roguelites. Let's see, have you heard of Binding of Isaac?
I have heard of it.
Okay, that is, I'm not going to get your YouTube spam with people and hating, but that is a roguelite to its core. The main mechanics are permadeath, randomly generated environments, and usually it's turn-based, but that's not necessary. There's been a lot of blending of that with other things, like there's Metroidvania roguelikes. Anyways, go check it out. It's a really, really cool subgenre of video games, and it's definitely got a huge following, which is kind of where I'm trying to push this. You know, being a good product manager, let's get this in as many hands as possible. Let's make a name for Fight Planet. Let's make Dungeon Boy Burnham and Dr. Buttstream come alive.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, back to the live stream. So I think we have everything we need to set up a cool Kickstarter, because we just got to make a bunch of promises and then deliver half of it and there, right?
We shouldn't give away the game on the live stream. That's to protect us from the inevitable loss.
Well, okay.
That's true.
Oh man, wouldn't it be bullshit if like we're saying right now, okay, February 28th, we're gonna launch the live stream, Fight Planet RPG, and then our like one viewer. Do we have a viewer? Oh, we don't have any viewers. We're good.
No,
yeah, but this is gonna be.
We have 3 viewers. That's us.
Yeah, one, 2, 3.
We did have a viewer last time, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, somebody, a nice young gentleman, recently subscribed and said, "You've earned a subscriber."
Oh man, we are making it. Thank you, subscriber. From my heart to yours, we'll make this a good product, and we'll deliver at least 90% of it.
Not 90%. That's the number one to get behind.
See, that's better than half. I'm being convinced to go up because I have someone to impress now.
Oh, I will have you know, totally non sequitur, but I was taking the Foreign Service exam, and they asked to do some math problems, and one of them it was this math problem to calculate something, and then they threw in the p-value of 95%, or the 0.05, and some of the multiple choice answers were like factoring that in. And I was like, no. So anyway, that's my master's.
It's making its way out.
My master's in public administration for you.
Yay, it's good.
Thrown me off. But anyhow. So, all right. So Dungeon Boy Burnham, yes, I like all of these ideas. I have a piece of notebook paper. I now know what roguelike RPG means.
Okay.
And I am going to work this week a little bit on actually getting something created.
Now,
cool.
Are you ready to run on next weekend's live stream? Are you ready to run the first ever game of Fight Planet RPG?
I'd like to hear what Morta has to say first.
Yeah, I don't think we should be making those sorts of promises, because what happens if we release to public and it looks like crap before our Kickstarter's done? I think we should keep that one close to the chest so that we at least get that sweet Kickstarter money before they find out it's crap.
We really need to eat our curry before we shit all over this game with playtesting.
That just strikes confidence in everybody's hearts.
Actually, I will say this. I've played a game made by Draken before, and I really, really liked it. I think there's a lot of potential in this. But we don't want to.
I know what game you're talking about.
Does it start with L and the second word starts with E?
Yes, it was one of my favorite RPGs I've ever played. Even better than a lot of Rifts or the D&Ds or any of them.
Because I didn't know what a freaking psionic was.
That sounds like a personal problem, my friend.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I think we do need some deadlines. I do think you need a little bit of product management here. So I've been studying up. You ready?
Ready.
Oh, we're ready. Manage.
All right. So we have the deadline on the 28th, so let's walk it back. We need to make sure that we have a description of the game mechanics, at least a byline, catchy description of the universe.
Okay.
And we need to have a sweet thing of art in the front, and possibly a video of, probably not this, but some video from the channel for those that will actually want to look at it. And then those who get to this live stream and heard everything we're talking about, well, we lost you, so don't worry about it.
No. Okay.
But
so
if we can get all that in by the 28th, so that's what we need to have by the 28th. So a base description of the mechanics, and it doesn't have to be, and make it specific, but only in ways you're willing to be tied to Draken. So if you're going to use D12s as the main mechanic, put that in there. But
right. I can
don't say only uses D12s.
Right, not only, just does. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
And if you could get that little bit done by next week, that would be perfect, because that can be put in. Draken, you're going to have to go out and get that art. Good luck. A week deadline's going to be horrible. Tell the artist I am terribly sorry. But then you'll probably want to come up with the tagline, right?
Yeah.
And then, some curry.
Okay. Okay, so here's... Actually, I should put this in this document. So the print run of... If we do 250 units, it will cost us $355 for just the printing.
All right.
And... Let's see, what is that? That is... Oh, that's a cover and 4 pages inside. So 20... Let's see. 20 pages, 4 sheets inside. So that is half of the number that was said previously.
That's fine. I mean, that's... We can cut it down to the critical path. We will get this out. We will have an MVP. People will play it. They will love it. And then we can start the Kickstarter for Fight Planet, the real bound edition.
That's right.
$10,000. If you give us $7,000, we'll let you name a character Kickstarter. So.
Okay, wait. Hang on. That's going to be... Oh, yeah! Okay, hang on. I'm going to write that down. Pledge level. Name a Robot? No, name a thing. Boom. Okay. Yeah, because we got to figure out our pledge levels by the end of the month, too.
Yeah.
I would like to have one pledge, the highest pledge level, be called single-handedly fund this entire dumb thing. And it is basically the goal.
I'm down. That sounds awesome. Oh, are you thinking any?
What's up?
Are you thinking of any stretch goals?
Oh yeah,
I
good
mean,
thinking.
stretch goals, I would get shrimp in my curry. I always get chicken, but I'm thinking shrimp would be good.
No, not stretch goals for us. Stretch goals for the investor.
Oh.
Can we wait? We got to be careful. We shouldn't use the word necessarily investor. They're just funders. They're not getting anything back out of this
that's
aside
right.
from what we're.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Back off,
Gotcha.
CC.
But yeah, we want to make sure we set those expectations with the stakeholders correctly.
That's good. That's good. Let's see. Personally autographed, right?
Right.
Give a
right.
little extra.
Which is gonna be super simple. We'll just like mail them from state to state to state, and everybody signs the dumb things. That seems like a great.
Well, only if they meet that stretch goal, you know.
Yeah,
like, oh,
And maybe only.
I'll do that for the person who like funds the whole stupid thing.
Single-handedly fund the whole stupid thing.
Right. 'Cause
I
you're gonna
will
have to
mail
ship
and sign.
That's right. We do live in 4 different states if you count X.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 if you count the artist.
All right. That's pretty great. Okay, that's definitely
Cool.
the funded all stretch goal.
So then we just need to have these things in line probably by next weekend so that you have time to put it all together on the Kickstarter.
Yep.
Okay.
And then it'll be on you to actually get it up.
Yep. Yeah, that'll definitely be on you.
So
That's my burden.
we got our action items.
I like this. This is actually something that it can be done, sort of. You'll also have to, Dungeon Boy Burnham,
That's me.
you'll have to have a page or something. I guess, right, we don't need to do everything right now, but we got, like, we know Fight Planet, you're there, but we need to know what else is there.
Okay, so you just want to know, like, what do you want to know?
Get me into this world. Like Rifts did this better than almost any other RPG. Is like it got you into the world, right? Like maybe it didn't do it as well because I can't recall any details. But you know the White Wolf games, like you know what that world is like.
Okay, so take this and do whatever you want with it. You are in a little pod, and you come down, boop, and you land, and you step out of the pod, and you are immediately punched out, and and you are dead. And then
The year is 2007. Criminals are said
yeah,
to.
the distant future, 2007.
20,007.
Sure.
Sure.
All right. So that's the first one. You like somebody steps out of their pod and is immediately shot, and
Right,
then,
that's the good tagline, right? That you've got me sold on how Fight Planet starts, right? I'm like, what's Fight Planet third encounter?
okay, and then you get out after like 4 or 5 dudes. You actually get out of your pod and make it down the block, and there's a vending machine, and the vending machine has like grenades in it, and you know, maybe like throwing stars or some other stupid thing, but you don't have any rad dad points or whatever, so you can't get into this machine, and it's bomb proof. But somebody sees you dicking around at the machine, so they shoot you, and you're dead. And let's see what else happens.
Can't the machine shoot you too?
Yeah, the machine falls over and crushes you.
Oh my god! Could Fight Planet? Could there be? Let's say there Fight Planet has a capacity, right? And it's always over capacity, so they can't fire off a pod until the capacity drops, right? See where I'm going with this, right? So
No.
everybody is backed up on Earth or whatever in their cryostasis pod because Fight Planet's at overcapacity. But then when someone dies, another pod gets launched. And fuck, maybe the pod gets launched to exactly the place where the person died. So, like, you could be in the middle of combat, right? You get just murdered by the giant robot. And then, 2 rounds later, this pod just comes hurtling down into the earth and explodes. And then you have to roll out and you're a completely new person. You're like, oh, I'm fighting now.
I like that.
I know how I am going to completely get my Rad Dad points. I'm going to spawn camp the crap out of a pod drop. Oh, you're on the pod, kablam! Reload. Next person coming down on the pod, kablam! Reload. I love it. If this isn't a mechanic, I feel like we've lost something.
I'm putting it in there.
I think it should happen some proportion of the time. So not necessarily.
Yeah, it may not be infinite, right?
Well, I don't think I think here is something that would make this the creme de la creme. Let's put in also the fact that on Fight Planet you have all of these patrons that are watching it, because of course this is for some
it's televised.
Entertainment.
It's televised.
And so they can give Rad Dads, i.e. the GM can give Rad Dads, for anything that they find that is interesting, fun, or, excites them. So if you did a particularly badass kill or, so if you spawn camp, you aren't going to get that many Rad Dads because that's kind of boring.
Right.
You got to go out there and do something
Go
flashy.
out and do flashy TV shit.
Yeah, okay. So it's
Then
like live
the big sponsors
streamers.
start firing off pods, which has shit in it, right? Okay. All right, I like this.
Okay, so it's like
Sorry, I got loud there. I was getting excited.
gladiators. Or
Yeah.
like real life live stream battle people. You want to develop your own audience, and and then they start sending you bazookas or whatever.
Yeah. And your
Nice.
genetic implants and whatever else you need to be the best of them all.
Yeah.
Okay, Draken, add that to the game, please.
I think this is very productive. So all the action items is Draken does everything and we sit back.
Hey, we picked out your curry.
We may
That's
not be
pretty
getting a complete equipment list by next week.
good. I mean, so I'm picturing like a couple pages where it's like, here is a table, and you roll, a couple d12s on this table and a couple d12s on this, and it's like, oh, you've picked up, an automatic double enhanced laser grader 2000 or something like that, and just like weird weapon combinations, and like, what are the stats for it? Who knows? The Fight Master does, but
Oh my god! Oh my god! Thank you.
what?
I like that. Fight Master.
Fight Master.
I assume
Perfect.
DM is trademarked.
Even if it's not,
FM,
Fight Master's better.
Fight Master's the way to go. Clearly. Yeah.
I actually see this as being something dare I say it, I'd even be willing to put money towards.
Yes.
Well, that's the zine, right? It's got to have that attractive, pull you in feel. So.
Cool. I think we should wait till the Kickstarter is over before we, near the end, before we live stream a play session.
Okay.
Oh.
And you know what? I think that's fine. And I think we should even, after the Kickstarter is over, have like some kind of a playtest level where we'll send out the rules, the draft of the rules to a specific number of, people who pledged that level.
And it's just a zine, right? I mean, we're starting just with a zine. So.
Yeah, it'll be fun. We'll live stream it. We'll play a couple rounds of this. We'll see what fun can come from it, and tweak the rules as needed.
All right.
So awesome. So that said, are we happy with the Kickstarter update Fight Planet stuff?
I think so.
I think so. Did that take the whole hour?
That was 45 minutes.
Oh my god. Okay. Yeah. So,
That's okay. Fight Planet deserved the time.
Fight Planet did deserve the time, and we clearly were not in lacking for topic discussions. So, I guess maybe what I will do is, because I feel like if we're gonna do the full treatment on this, it's gonna take too long. So I think what I'd like to do is to give the overview, and then this could be a possible topic for a future live stream.
Okay.
So
yeah. So hey, everybody, let us know in the comments and in the live chat if you want to hear more about this next topic. Hit it, Draken.
All right. So the idea behind this topic is generally online role-playing resources. Do you use them in a campaign? Should you use them in a campaign? This just recently got inspired to me. There's this website called Scabbard, spelled wrong, SCABARD.com. And it's basically this website that is a cloud-based campaign organizer. So the idea is, you have what your campaign is. It's a way to keep track of all the characters, how all the characters are connected to the geography, how they're connected to royal houses, and then there's certain events that go on and things that happen with those events, and so on and so forth. It has a potential. It's got a lot of interesting things with it. It can allow you to do a lot of. It can help you build a world. It's a great little visual tool. Cuts down on all those different things. So that is obvious. That's something to talk about. But before getting into that, there needs to be a discussion about, can online stuff, whether it's a campaign organizer or an electronic character sheet or any of those things, can that be helpful or can that be distracting to a Dungeons and Dragons game? So you have to definitely consider that there are trade-offs in whether you use these resources, and whether you should use them, or if you should put the phone down or the iPad down, or can the game be enhanced if they're used properly and correctly. So basically, we could have a live stream about what these are, when they're appropriate to use, if they're not appropriate to use, and then if they are appropriate to use, then talk about the available mapping tools that are out there, talk about SCA Bard, talk about D&D Beyond, which is the really common one for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, things like that. So that is a topic that could be a future topic for live stream.
Back in my day, we only had pen and paper, and we was better for it.
That's right. That's right. I think that's a very good point. And actually, you believe how ancient we are, right? I mean, like the internet didn't exist really when we were kids, right? Like there was the sort of AOL janky, but and you got onto it.
The Jankernet. I'm going to call it the Jankernet from now on. Thank you, Draken.
Good. Yeah. So yeah, there's been a lot of things that simply were not possible even. Well, broadband. Yeah, I mean, even 5 years ago, right? You didn't have Roll20, and then you didn't even have broadband until broadband didn't become mainstream until about 2002.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, I mean, I agree. It's interesting how even something as like traditional as pen and paper role playing has changed over the years.
It has, and I think we're in a very unusual spot right now because even though TSR has been bought out by Hasbro and they're giant corporate greed gods, nonetheless, the D&D 5th edition product is actually something that is good, that they have not yet destroyed, that is actually bringing in new lifeblood into the game. So, I think all of these online resources, can we help keep that going? Can we make it our own? That sort of thing.
One quick thing on corporate greed. Did you guys see that they just announced this, basically a starter set for D&D, but it's going to be the Stranger Things Dungeons and Dragons starter set?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, go for it.
And who's going to, obviously we're going to play it, but who's going to run it?
I find that with an acceptable. I find that with an acceptable. We need to make money market. If they want to drop a 6th edition, then I'm going to get upset. But that's acceptable.
And we'll find a campaign. We'll fight a Gorgon. I think that's brilliant. And you know what? Bring more people to the game. Let's. We're well past the time where we should be like snobs about this. Like,
absolutely,
get more people in role playing.
I just signed up for an event for it's Drunkens and Dragons. All right, you go play Dungeons and Dragons in a bar.
Nice. Many fun possibilities.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a good idea or not. But...
Well, try it out.
Yeah, give us a trip report.
Yeah, I guess so.
I feel like we were also supposed to do one more thing on the stream. Do we have time for it?
Yes.
That's how do you organize a campaign as a human being.
Oh yeah, we don't have time for that bullshit.
That's a very good topic, though. So put that down on future topics. Burn it.
I thought that's what the topic was of can online tools. But yeah, how do you organize as a human being? I suppose that is different.
Okay. That makes sense because, online tools help.
Right. Yep.
I noticed they were using what looked to be a nice big graph database on the very advanced on Scabbard. That's a very advanced
it's not
method.
Pronounced SCA Bard.
Yeah, SCA Bard, Ska Bard. But yeah, if you look at that graph right there, that is a graph database graph. I mean, it's also a graph.
Yeah, I gotta say that the graph is like selling it to me.
Are you sure it's not just like a relational database?
Relational databases don't have dependencies between their objects. That looks like more like a graph database, like a Mongo or something. Well, we could talk about that stuff that clearly makes us computer nerds who mess with stuff like databases and NoSQL in our life. But let's hide that. Let's not let people know that's what we do for a living.
Yeah, Fight Planet.
Fight Planet. Yeah, last thing I want to do is walk into a meeting and have Fight Planet said to me.
Well, that will be when you know you've made it, right? That's
true.
Planet is.
All right, that reminds me. Stretch goal, stupid T-shirts.
Yeah, you sign them all. Yeah. Oh yes, definitely stupid T-shirts.
Right, where's my crap?
And then of course, right? Like maybe not for this Kickstarter. Let's not even pretend I'm thinking about the real Kickstarter. But if there was a real Kickstarter, right? Those stretch goals would be like more equipment, right? More enemies to kill, things like that. But not for this Kickstarter.
That's when we do the Kickstarter for the campaign in general. When the campaign just takes off, everybody wants to be in Fight Planet, and it's like the new big role-playing sensation.
Yeah. Let's hone in our expectations there, but yes, that's right.
Yeah, right now we're just going for curry. We can go for international fame next.
We're not going for Dungeons and Dragons. We're just going for like White Wolf level.
Yeah, we just want the notoriety of White Wolf. I think we can do that.
Keep it in check.
Oh,
I like to be called GURPS too,
All right. Well, so I guess with that, do you guys got anything else pressing before we end the stream?
Nope, I think we're good. I'm on my end.
Okay.
yeah, I'm ready to play some Fight Planet.
All
I'm
right.
going to go roll some D12s in anticipation.
Okay, I'll go give our impossible request to the artist as well, and see how that goes. See if I need to find a new artist who will work for Curry.
A sketch, right? Just a sketch. Because that's what a zine really is, right?
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
zines, they got a real punk rock roots to it. People would cut out pictures.
Hey, I don't know if you heard what I'm doing right now, but I'm
Oh,
rolling.
we got some D12s.
I'm rolling 2 D12s. This is what the sound of balls sounds like.
I was gonna say that should be the ball stat right there. Just every time you roll 2d12, that's your balls.
Yeah, that's balls. Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Okay, well, thank you everybody for joining us on today's live stream. If you have any questions or comments about Fight Planet, go ahead and leave them down in the comment section below. Thank you very much to Morta and Draken for joining me today. As always, I'm Dungeon Boy Burnham, and that's it for today. We'll see you next weekend. Bye.